There's a nice free image editing piece of software. It's web-based, which means it can be used on any device that has a web browser, including Windows laptops and Chromebooks. And it's called Pixlr. So if you go to pixlr.com, you will end up on this website. Okay, so you can see here it's a free editor. Now there are a few premium features, but this one, Pixlr X, generally allows you to do some basic image editing, and the premium features are marked with a little crown, so you know just to avoid to use those. For the most part, you can do much of what you need to do without accessing any of the free features, without having to log in to the website. So when we've chosen Pixlr X, we get to this screen, and it's asking us to either open an existing image, create a new image, or load an image from a URL from a web page. So I'm going to go open image, and then I'm going to just grab a picture here that I can edit. So this is just a picture of a library, just a bookshop basically. And you can see down the left hand side we have a bunch of tools, and down the right hand side we have what are known as layers. So if you're familiar with image editing software such as Photoshop or GIMP, you probably have come across layers before. So here's a run through basically of the different tools. So the first one is called Arrange and Style, and this just lets you move things around. So if you want to move things or you want to rotate them, you just select Arrange and Style. And then as you can see here, if I want to delete this image, I can. If I want to duplicate it, I can. If I want to unlock it so it no longer functions as the background of the image, but just as part of the picture, then I can unlock it and move it and rotate it. I'm going to keep mine locked in place. The second one is called Layout and Template, and this allows me to resize my image, and it also allows me to resize the canvas so that I can place things around my image. Add Text basically allows you to use some of these ready-made text features by putting some writing on your picture. These are the ones with the crowns, these are the premium ones. But any of these others, you should be able to just select and it will drop it here on your image. And you can do the usual things, resize, move this about, put it wherever you want it. Now you'll notice down the left hand side, you have all the layers that make up this text image. So we've got all the different colored stars, we've got the individual items of text. So if we want to change any of these, instead of saying hello summer, for example, we can just change this by clicking on it, changing the text over here, for example. Let's just make that a bit shorter. There you go. Okay, and then because it's got this fancy feature on top of it, I'm going to need to change it in both places just there. Okay, but that's kind of how that works. The next one down is an element. So if I want to add an element such as a border or an overlay, it gives me some choices. So I just want to have some kind of border. Now you'll notice again some of these are premium features. So just ignore the ones that have got crowns on unless you want to subscribe and pay them some money. There's one there that looks a bit like an old picture frame. So I'm going to go with that. I think that looks okay. Now, if I want to add more images to this and build up a bit of a montage or a collage of stuff, I can do that. The same as you did at the beginning by browsing or by looking from a web page from a URL. This is your standard crop and rotate. So if I wanted to flip images around, I can do that at any time. If I don't like it, I can just undo it. If I want to rotate, if I want to crop the image, I've got the option, to do that here. Okay, so it's fairly straightforward. If you don't like it, again, you can just undo. The next one down is called Cutout. Now, again, you have to select the layer you want to work on. So I'll go back to the base one that we started, the background layer. And I'm going to choose a love heart, for example, and just draw a love heart there. It'll just crop that to the shape. Okay, you can invert these cutouts, reset them if you don't like them, change to a different shape. So these may or may not be that useful depending on what it is you're trying to achieve. The next tool allows you to make adjustments. So if you want to adjust the color, convert it to a black and white image, for example, you'll notice it's only changing the layer that I'm on. So if I want to change these others, I'm going to have to make all these black and white as well. So you can change the color, the light, the scene, the toning, the fill, and so on. So, or you can just click also, which if it's a photograph, usually does a pretty decent job of trying to get the lighting and the contrast right for you. Next one down is just an effect. So if I want to change to something like an old style sepia, I've got the option to do that. There are various effects in here that you can just add, and if any of them don't look right for you, then you can just undo them and try a different one. Liquify is the tool that students like to mess around with. It's not always that useful. It depends, what you want to do with it, but it just enables you to just change the shape of things just by messing with whichever layer you happen to be on. You can just liquify individual bits of the picture, if you want to. They're not always that useful, but can be depending on what it is you're trying to achieve. Okay. The next one down is known as the Retouch. So again, if I select my layer here, I can patch things up. I can clone areas of the picture and then stamp them back in again. I can sharpen, and I can use things called dodge and burn, where we can lighten and darken various things. So if you want to cover up certain elements of your image, then it gives you the option to do that. So you can see that just disappeared there. All right, so the next one down is just if you want to draw some shapes with a pen or a brush or some actual physical shapes, we can do that, and we get the option to fill those in or just use an outline, and you can change the colors of those and change the shape. So you get the option to do that if you want to. There's a few extra little things down the bottom: glitch, focus, and dispersion. They are premium features. You don't really need them, in all honesty. You can survive without them and just stick with the free version. If you're happy with your picture and you want to save it, click Save. Here's where you give it a name. Choose JPEG for the majority of your pictures, unless you have a transparent background, in which case choose PNG. You can change the quality here. The lower the quality is, the smaller the file size. You can see here the maximum quality gives you the largest file size. So if you're looking to display this on a web page where things loading quickly is important for you, then you could probably go for a medium quality, or just go for high, but just lower it a little bit so it's not like the maximum, and you'll get a reasonable balance between a decent quality image and a respectable sized file. Then all you have to do is click the download button, and it will pop up and ask you if you want to then save that somewhere, and then just use that image and do whatever you like with it.